We're doing it live. We're doing it live. Hello, everyone, wherever you are. Welcome to The Narrative. I'm here today with Axel from Pop Daddy. That's a good placement there with the toy right there, right? And you got Pop and the Pop Daddy right there. So this is a quick arrangement for this stream because I realized that tomorrow and the day after I'm going to get some tooth pulled out, and I was like, I think the whole week's gone after that. So Axel was very cool to come on really quickly, and so we arranged within like about half an hour of discussion to put this stream on to talk to you guys about what they do or what he does down in Wellington, which is the capital of New Zealand. For those who are watching it from overseas, that's where the Beehive is. Whenever they talk about the Beehive, that's where the Beehive is, in the capital of New Zealand, Wellington. So thank you for joining us this afternoon, and I'm going to let Axel introduce himself, and then we'll get into the meat and guts of things.
Cool. All right. Hey, I'm Axel. I am also Pop Daddy. Been living in Wellington for the last several years, originally from a little place called Christchurch. You may know Christchurch due to the huge earthquake we had. That was a lot of fun. I'm an actor, I'm a filmmaker, and I'm a pop culture enthusiast.
Excellent. That's a lot of things we have in common, apart from the acting. But so now let's start with the beginning of, let's start from building up from the ground up. What got you into, getting interested in pop culture, and what was the start for you for this? Right.
All right. So taking us back to 2001, here I am sitting in a cinema, not even realizing my life is about to change. A particular movie starts to play. The Lord of the Rings, The Fellowship of the Ring. From there, it gave me a huge wake-up call and made me realize that I want to be in that. So that's where my acting came from. Jack Black was also a huge influence on that. And ever since then, I was obsessed with Lord of the Rings for 15 years. I studied everything about the movies. And from there, it trickled into stuff like Marvel, The Walking Dead, Lucifer, all sorts of crazy things like that. So, yeah.
Awesome. So when did you actually get into acting? Like after having watched that in 2011, did you say, or 2001?
2001. Yeah. So I've been acting for between 10 and 12 years.
Oh. Now, is this like we're talking about indie here, or we're talking about short films, or we're talking about major films involvement?
So I've been when it comes to major films, I've been an extra on Mortal Engines. I was on Peter Jackson's unit, which was pretty cool.
Awesome.
I've been in 2 feature films. One was an indie film called A Motel in a Hard Place, which was about renting out a motel next to a prison, breaking this guy out of prison next door. So that was a lot of fun. Then I was in a movie called Mega Time Squad, which traveled the world in festivals. And it was a time travel movie, had the likes of Johnny Bruff in it from What We Do in the Shadows. So, yeah.
Now, what was that one by the same guy that did that Haunted House one, or the Demons in Haunted House?
If you're thinking of the vampire mockumentary.
No. One earlier than that. It was like, oh gosh, it's the guy who did the one with the guns that type Scrooge's hand. That same director.
Guns Akimbo.
Yeah, the guy before that movie came out.
There was Deathgasm.
Yeah, that one. Is it the same director who did this one, or no?
Not this. No, it wasn't Jason Lee Halden. However, the guy that was the lead guy in Deathgasm, I worked with on Mega Time Squad.
Awesome. It's really cool.
Yeah,
I mean, like,
good on Milo Cawthorne. He's a good mate.
That's the thing about the Wellington scene, isn't it? Like you because it's been such a huge amount of money being put into that industry in Wellington, in cinematography and cinema and all that, and there's so much, that you can basically, I guess, that's so interconnectedness that goes on because of people that know each other and actors and extras, and like you're saying, you've been on this one, then this one from this one. It's really cool. I mean, so having done that, what was it like being part of those bigger movies and also being of the smaller movies as well?
So Mortal Engines. The only reason I agreed to do that was because I was going to be on Peter Jackson's unit. So from that experience, seeing Peter at work paid a lot more than what the money did. It was the sentimental value of what was going on that I was there for, not the dollar bills at the end of the day. So that was phenomenal. Like I said, I was just background for that, so it wasn't too bad. But yeah, being part of 2 feature films that aren't as big as that kind of thing, it's a really good experience. I remember a day on set for Mega Time Squad. We were at because it was shot in Auckland, that one. We were out at some bowling club or some RSA or something, and we had a whole bunch of extras for that day. And I knew what it was like to feel a little, like a castaway, so to speak. I'm just a background. I'm not important. So I made sure to go and chat to the extras and ask if they need anything. Are they all right? They're feeling good. They know what they're doing. Make them feel welcome, because it was something I always wanted. My acting work as an extra sort of started on Outrageous Fortune and Nothing Trivial. And, you always did feel like, you weren't meant to be there, but you needed to be there, if that makes sense. So, yeah, that's why I made sure to, invite these extras and make them feel welcome. So, but, it's in comparison, it's, of course, when you're doing a big film, there's a lot of stress and stuff, and you've got to make sure that you, A, keep your mouth shut, and B, do your job, especially as a background. But it's a lot more fun when you're one of the leads on a low budget feature film. There's more freedom. Like me and Tim Van Damme, who did Romeo and Juliet, a love song in 2012. Him and I, we'd have a lot of interactions over the course of Mega Time Squad, and I'd give him ideas and say, hey, what about this? What about that? And he was open to hearing those ideas. So yeah, that's probably the comparisons between the two.
Yeah, I think like when you're more independent, on the independent budget, you kind of like want to see, because you always think about like, how can I do it better but cheaper all the time? And your brain's like going, and you're more open to ideas because of that, because you're thinking, well, somebody has who's probably worked with this equipment and knows how to do it better, or something like that. I think that's kind of that's the cutting the teeth thing, isn't it? Like, I mean, in the industry, because if you're doing like independent circuits, and not only, I mean, like you got to come up to Auckland from Wellington. Now, was that a paid gig to come up here, or did you have to pay your own way?
So when I did Mega Time Squad, I had just moved to Auckland, and that story was a 3-month live story. I was only up in Auckland before I moved back down to Wellington for about 3 months. But yeah, no, we got paid. I mean, it was just your typical kind of low budget pay, but at the end of the day, it put a cheeseburger in the mouth and clothes on my back, so it was all good.
So, what's it like? Because you've experienced both the short film, I mean, the TV short film, independent film, and also the feature film. What's it been like? I mean, you've already said about how it's experiences, but what did you personally get out of having to gone through all that stages?
So when I was doing extra work back in the start of my career, the main thing I got from that was understanding how a film set works or a TV set works, sort of understanding what was the responsibility of all the core roles that were there, like the gaffer, the sound guy, director of photography, that kind of thing. And the main thing that I got out of it myself is I wanted to do that. I wanted to start making my own films. I haven't yet, but I want to. And there's a lot of ideas that are circulating in my head. So yeah, it just gave me that boost to get more into the visual media scene.
Did you just ever decide, think about actually going to school for that, or have you been to school for that, or have you thought, no, I'm just going to learn it as I go along practically?
Well, some people say you can be born with it. I believe probably about 80% of my talent I've been born with. 20% I learned through different training and stuff. Like I was part of a theatre school in Christchurch, and each term you'd practice a script ready for live theatre, but at that same time you're kind of getting directed how to do that. So it wasn't like acting training; it was more like training for that particular theatre piece. And a lot of that really helped into crafting kind of where I'm at today. I suppose, if that answers your question.
How long was that for?
So I did, I think, about 6 productions with them over the course of 5 years, because I didn't stay in Christchurch for, to do them all. But yeah, probably about 5 projects I did with original scripts.
Awesome. So when did you get in, like, was that because you wanted to get into film, or what, and because of the influence from the Lord of the Rings in 2001, or was it like, okay, did you go to work on short films and then go back to school, do some theater work, or did you go to theater work and then move across to getting some positions in short films?
The best thing as an actor that you can do is continue working on your craft. If that's going and doing a bit of theatre just to tie you over, then so be it. You learn a lot from that. And obviously theatre, you've got to be a bit more out there and, hey, whereas TV, you keep it quiet and have an interaction like we are right now, So you get to learn all those different aspects. For me, it was always film work I wanted to do, film and TV, not theatre. But I did the theatre to kind of work on those skills. So
awesome. So you got 2001. I keep thinking 2021 all the time. 2001. You got Peter Jackson, got the bug for seeing cinema and saying, were you in Wellington at the time when you saw that, or were you somewhere else?
So I was born and raised in Christchurch, so I was still down south for that.
Okay, so did you move away from Wellington? So Christchurch to Wellington after that, or how soon was the movement?
So the first time I moved to Wellington was in 2006. Okay. And that was sort of hoping to because King Kong and Narnia was out, and I was like, oh, maybe I can get me a piece of that pie. Cutting a long story short, I didn't. The coolest thing that happened to me around that time is I worked for Blue Bridge, which was one of the Cook Strait ferries. That's as cool as it got. And then I did a bit of traveling. So I lived in Auckland, went back to Christchurch and whatnot. And I've been back in Wellington. Fiance and I have been together, coming up 6 years next year. So yeah, just over 5 years this time around.
Okay. So when was your first little, bit into film itself? Like, short film, TV, whatever, but when was the step from theater into that movement?
So I did a bit of theater prior to 2006 before I moved to Wellington. When I moved to Wellington in 2006, I did a little bit of training at, what was it called? WPAC, Wellington Performing Arts Centre, I think it was called. And we had my tutor was Vanessa Stacey, if you might know her, if you've seen The Tribe, old school Kiwi TV series, The Tribe. So she
probably bit. I don't usually watch TV, so yeah.
So yeah, she was my tutor.
I don't know all of it.
So yeah, it was probably around 2005, 2006. I started sort of picking that up. So in that case, I've been acting for bloody hell, almost 15 years. Wow.
Yeah, well, it's like, you don't notice how long you've been doing something until you actually have to go this, and try to add the numbers up. That's why, like, going back to 2001, going, okay, let's get the steps going here, because then we can arrive at what we actually need to talk about, which is Pop Daddy. So, amongst like with all these different films, you've got Mortal Engine, you've got Mega Time Squad as an feature independent, and then you got a whole bunch of short films, plus you got TV experience. What do you? Do you want? You going to carry on with this craft? Or because of course you're doing the shops and stuff, but and you're thinking about making your own films and stuff. You're picking up all these skills as you're going along. Do you think you want to be behind the camera more than in front of the camera, or write, or or work on, run around helping the extras and stuff, or what is it called? AD, right?
AD/runner. Yeah. Look at me. I've got a face built for camera rather than behind it. I prefer to be in front of the camera. It's not as possible as it used to be due to reasons. But whenever sort of something pops up in Wellington now, I sort of stick up my hand. So the last thing I did, which was a Wellington-based thing, was a commercial for Acuro Insurance, which ran on nationwide TV for about 7 weeks. And I managed to do that because it was Wellington-based. So I haven't kind of given it up. I've been focusing more on my YouTube channel and stuff, more so because I can do that, and I know that, you know, I won't get turned down at an audition to make a YouTube channel. But I mean, I've always enjoyed the craft of being in front rather than behind. So,
and plus you're in control of your own, you know, whatever you're putting out, 100%. So now, how did you get onto actually deciding, well, I'm going to do an online store? And, you know, of course, I mean, I've tried that myself in the past as well, back in, 2010 or something like that, years ago. But so how did you arrive from going to acting, you know, doing all the bits and pieces amongst all these 15 years, and then decide, okay, you know what, I'm going to get into pop culture? And where did that love actually start from? Is it still with the 2001, or because you look like a young guy?
That's where it originated from. Lord of the Rings is what kicked it all off and sparked it all up. So I suppose as of recently, what was it, September last year, I started up my own media company, photography and video production. And then it started getting a bit quiet. So then, you know, I was like, well, I'm not happy with the YouTube channel I'm currently doing. And at the time, I had a channel called Lexa Dixon, which was sort of vlogs and, you know, traveling around New Zealand and different bits and pieces like that. And I got my first mystery box at, I think it was at Armageddon earlier this year. I went to Card Merchant and I got, I think, 3 mystery boxes. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to open these on camera. And then it sort of stemmed from there. One of my mates came in. He's like, I've got a name for your new YouTube channel. I'm like, oh, yeah. He's like, Pop Daddy. I'm like, that sounds a bit weird, but okay, I'll go with it, you know. So, yeah, and then obviously with more mystery boxes, more unboxing of boxes and all that kind of stuff, I ended up getting a stack of Funko Pops. So I decided, you know what, I'm going to sell the ones I don't want on Trade Me, keep the ones I do. And then from there, I was like, you know what, maybe I should make this a bit bigger than what it is, start my own website, and let's do it. So that's kind of where that kind of came from. So,
well, I mean, the thing is, like, because of last year's lockdown and this year's now with being in our 3rd or 4th week, I can't even keep up with what week we're on anymore.
It's Saturday today, right?
Maybe it's Sunday, I don't know. But the thing is, like, so, I mean, my concern has always been for small business, because I used to be in small business. I used to have my own comic shop and stuff. And, you know, and so whenever something like this happens, my whole concern is, okay, so how does it going to affect us brick and mortar people living from week to week? Usually it's month to month at most, because I was talking about one of my, friends who's also part of my business. And I was just saying, like, it's usually around about 2 months out of the year that you actually is profit, 1 to 2 months, if you're lucky, maybe more. But, you know, when you're owning a brick and mortar shop, that's basically how it works. You got wages, you got overheads, you got to pay your bills, your wholesale freight and all that. And you probably end up with about 2 months to 2 months worth of profit in your bank account. Now, if you're closed down for a month or 2 months, and and you don't have that funding to back that up, you're closing. So I'm seeing shops in town closing all the time in our city. Have you noticed that in Wellington as well since last year? Have you noticed some small, small brick and mortar shops closing?
Sorry, I didn't catch any of that. Your vocals are a bit crackly.
Sorry. So like with the lockdown last year, and then lockdown this year, have you noticed like small stores closing because of because of lockdowns last year?
Oh, yeah, no. There's definitely businesses closing and businesses on hold. Like, prime example, October 2019, I got the dream job. Apart from acting, I got the dream job. I became a Lord of the Rings tour guide.
Okay.
July, thanks to COVID, I lost that job.
Yeah.
So, yes, there are difficulties. And as I said, 2001 was where everything stemmed up. So being a Lord of the Rings tour guide was phenomenal. But yeah, COVID screwed that. So
yeah, because I mean that's a lot of learning. You got to know what you're talking about, of the law and stuff. And it's basically like me trying to go to write for the X-Men, and I've got to make sure I know all the X-Men characters that I've got to think about, right? And whereas if I'm writing my own thing, it's easier, probably more harder because those characters don't exist at the moment. I got to create them myself. So with the unboxing and stuff and selling that, I've noticed on your website, it's not just Funko Pops that you're selling. There's other diamond stuff that I noticed. What is that all about?
So I kind of wanted to do something where any fan of pop culture can come to my my site, and it'd be like an open book, a one-stop shop. There's a lot of people following the diamond painting aspect of pop culture at the moment. And I mean, if you walk into EB Games, you're not going to get diamond painting. If you walk into a convenience store, you're not going to get Funko Pops. So it was a matter of putting the two together and saying, hey, look, we're a pop culture website. You can grab all your pop culture needs. So we've got like action figures, we've got keychains, we've got cosplay costumes and props, Funko Pops, of course. Yeah. So, yeah, pretty much like a one-stop shop.
What is diamond painting? Because I don't understand what that is.
So diamond painting, I don't personally do it myself. My mother does, and my fiance does. But diamond painting is you get like a picture, right? You get a bunch of diamonds that go with it, and you get a diamond pen, and it's kind of like paint by number, but you're filling in the dots with diamonds. Yeah,
right. So it's
that's
like
pretty much diamond painting.
So it's basically stitching for 2021.
Yeah, pretty much. You could put it like that. Yeah.
I can see why your your mom and your fiance would be into that, because my mom's into knitting as well. So she's put some of her stuff online to show to us. That's pretty interesting. I didn't realize that they'd been. I think I did see a Batman one that they recently did. It's like $50 or something, and I was like, that's just not me. You need
almost 3 years to complete that one.
Yeah, I'm more like, okay, I'm just going to go with the figurines. I'll deal with that myself. So how is that going for you? Did you find like, having started the online store, how has it been going for you as a online retailer? Because have you seen, like, especially with the lockdown, right? So 3 weeks of lockdown, have you noticed that more people are going to the website, or before that, or prior to this, like I say, 3 weeks period before to 3 weeks now?
Yeah.
Have you seen an uptick in your business?
I mean, the website / online store, excluding the Trade Me, like the actual Shopify site that I've got, I've only had that sort of going for about a month. And from everybody I've spoken to about, looking at my analytics and stuff, my business isn't doing too bad for a business of where it is at the moment. I can't say if it's gone up or down during lockdown just because of how new it is. But it's definitely getting a lot of traction. And, I've just opened up about a week or two ago to Australia. So we're hoping to get a bit of traction from that as well. But yeah, it's getting there.
What's freight like to Australia?
So the minimum freight to Australia is $30, and that's up to 3 kgs.
Yeah. That's
so like if they ordered a box of 6 Funko Pops, it'd probably be like $30. So up to 3 kgs, Funko Pops don't, it's more size, isn't it? Because of that. I mean, I pay like about, $8 this week to get one Funko Pop up, because even though the Funko Pop itself that I bought off Marketplace only cost me $3, and I already had the figure, but like I wanted, it was like I already had it. This one here from Saga. It's just like Saga. You're frozen. Oh, there we go. Oh, yep, yep, yep.
Well, so I already got one, but I thought I'll get another one
Yeah, fair enough.
because it was only $3. So I got two of
Yeah.
them now, and I'm thinking like I might actually do a comp with this for something next year because we got our because we do our convention, so we might do that as a gift as a prize for because it's only cost me $3, but all up it cost me $11 because of $8 just to get it up to me. That's why I was wondering about the freight thing. So it's because it's a size, right? So I mean, 3 kgs of these would be like a whole friggin' cubic meter or something.
Yeah. So yeah, it goes on measurement and goes on size. Yeah, so it's all within the Shopify platform that you sort of work it all out. So you're not looking at a personal loss of $100 shipping. So, but yeah, talking about giveaways, we've currently got Shredder from Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. We're doing a giveaway for him, and we're also giving away a $45 Iron Man Funko for this month only. So giveaways are definitely a good thing to do.
Yeah, I noticed that. So like you had one couple like last time I saw you post about that's when I thought I had someone cool to get on bring on. So what got you started doing the giveaways?
Well, I don't do Pop Daddy just for money making. I mean, if I did, then I wouldn't even bother doing a YouTube channel. I like the customer interaction. I like making sure that the customer's got a smile on their face. I mean, even some of the products that we sell, we've got to get in from overseas. And I'm all, not always because it'd just be a pain in the ass, but, I'm often checking in on the customer and saying, hey, look, your item's expected to be here, this and this and this, making sure that the customer is genuinely happy. So if I'm able to give something away, people love giveaways, people love free shit. So I'm making someone's day, like last month, and this is probably the one you saw. I gave away B Rabbit from 8 Mile, of course, Eminem.
No, it was one before that, I think. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, that was the one I did last month, and the interaction and the feedback from people was great, and I got to put a smile on someone's face by saying, hey, here you go, this is for you, it's for free, don't even have to pay shipping. So,
exactly.
Yeah,
it's a cool thing. I mean, like I remember because I used to work for about almost 15 years in sales, from starting to like senior, from assistant to senior, and the bosses would get all this free stuff from their suppliers, which would just sit on the shelves in their office or in the back, and you never get it. It would be like, why don't you give it out to us? Because it's just going to sit there and get dust. And over years, I see them grow dust, and I'm like, and so now that I'm kind of like a boss, I go, how I remember back to those times, and I go, man, that sucked. So how do I look after my guys who are with me, and what would be really cool if I do this? What if I buy them this, or if I gift them that? When's their birthday? Sort of thing. And it kind of you like you're saying earlier about being extra, right? And you're walking around, and that's where my head clicked. I was like, right then, I was thinking, I remember working and all that, and being able to just put yourself in their shoes because you've experienced how you've been treated, and you go, yeah, I don't like that. I'd like to be treated a bit better. And so now you're doing that, and I think you get remembered for that. I think that's the one thing, especially when you're on your film set and stuff. I think people will remember you for that, and they'll remember that you're one of these, you're one of the people that were there at that time who they recognize, and they'll go, oh, who did you, is there anybody that would be good to work on this? We're looking for some extras and stuff. And that also, because of the fact that you guys have you're not a small community, a big community, but small in the sense that it's a network of people that, know each other. I think that's the benefit you guys get because you interact so well in Wellington because it's a city of, basically cinema and acting in New Zealand. Were you like, do you know anybody that was affected by this whole debacle with the Lord of the Rings series, prequel series that they did, and then they decided they were not going to do the second season. Were you part of that, or did you know anything about it?
They're moving it out in New Zealand. Yeah, I know somebody who's actually quite close to me who was affected by that. Me.
Were you
I'm not happy about that at all.
Yeah.
Metaverse is here. I mean, come on. But, you know.
Yeah. Were you part of that series as an extra or something? Or
no, I'd always said that I won't go up to Auckland to be an extra for it, but if they're willing to give me at least one line, sweet as, I'll do it.
Yeah.
I didn't hear anything. So maybe I look too dwarven, maybe.
Well, you get the look. I mean, that's the thing. It's like you have the look, and I think that's it's made for that role, right? Because all the dwarfs and stuff. I've got a friend up here who
I was this close to being in The Hobbit. This close. They rung me up and they're like, all right, so we're needing dwarf extras. It's going to be a dwarf movement class, a costume fitting, and a day's work. Are you interested? And I was living in Auckland at this time, and I was like, hell yeah, I'm definitely keen. Sweet, let me know when you need me. Did I get a phone call back? No.
Yeah.
So I got that close. And then a friend of mine, good friend of mine, he worked on the set of Dale up at Mount Crawford in Wellington as a crewman. He spent months sleeping in his car just to be part of it. So yeah.
It's kind of like that. It's one of those things you want to check, right? It's one of those, it's like a little thing in your life that you want to just tick off and say, yeah, there I was in that thing. And you can live, kind of like that story you tell around to your mates for the rest of your life, or your kids and their, your grandkids and all that. And who you met, when you met them. Oh yeah, I was with Peter Jackson, and blah blah blah. It's one of those. I mean, I think it's because that's what we gather, right? Because you want to be a storyteller, you want to be a filmmaker. These are all the stories that you gather about, and you becomes part of your life. And then you kind of because all these things like they become dialogue and story plots or story ideas that you mash up in your head. And you think of like, how do people react in this situation? I mean, that's what I find, because like, I mean, after years of friggin', being in sales and watching people, how they interact and how they talk to each other, because there's a difference between dialogue and conversation. And a lot of people that like tell stories or make films that cost a lot of money, millions, but because it's dialogue and not conversation, nobody remembers them. And have you like you like me, you must have watched tons of movies, and so what are your favorite movies apart from Lord of the Rings that really stick out in your head?
Well, firstly, just in regards to what you were saying before, working on something just so you can go around and say I worked with this person. I became a shuttle driver for the film Daffodils, another Kiwi film, and the main reason I wanted to work on that is because Rose McIver was on that, and you might know Rose from iZombie, you might know Rose from Once Upon a Time. Anyways, they had the premiere on Valentine's Day, and my fiance and I went along. I got to meet Rose, like actually meet her, and I got my 2 Funko Pops of hers signed. So yeah, the reason I worked on that is so now I can say I've met Rose McIver and I've worked for her.
Yeah.
Because she is a beauty.
She is. It's amazing, and I just I love. I think I've seen every episode except for somewhere around about 5th season or something when they put the walls up and stuff. Something in their writing just kind of went flat, and I just couldn't stick with it. But I did.
Like people don't like Walking Dead anymore. I'm still hooked.
Yeah, I gave up after 3rd season.
Yeah, the one TV series I don't like, and I tried a season and a half, and I just couldn't do it, and there's going to be hate. I do not like Game of Thrones.
I didn't watch the last season. I read the book instead.
Yeah, but I couldn't get into it.
Yeah, I couldn't wait for the I couldn't wait for the last season, which I'm glad I didn't. And so I read the book, and then I went, I can't be bothered. Yeah, and it was just like, I think there's so many things that, I mean, I think they did it well enough. Got a lot of Game of Thrones, They want to do Wheel of Time. I mean, you know, it's another one of the big, huge, like, fantasy, sci-fi, fantasy books. And you know, I think it's Jordan. No, I can't remember the name of the guy, but they want to turn that into a TV series. And I'm like, there's some things you just can't. You need to leave alone because because I mean, Lord of the Rings was great and will always be great. Hobbiton's okay, but I can't forgettable. I think Lord of the Rings, the trilogy, is just the best. You know, they should have just left it as a trilogy and just left it alone. Now that with the prequel, I'm like, I can't even be bothered. I mean, I've got watch. I've got the scene book. I've got of Lord of the Rings. I've got DVDs. I've got the trilogy book. I've got a little Hobbiton. Magnet. You know, got a couple.
I got some of the mini epics.
Little Gimli. You know, the other thing is that is cool.
Yeah.
One of the things I was going to mention about cosplay is up here. We have a gentleman called Wayne. Man, I don't want to get into my go off the site because it's going to mess up my thing. It's already messing up my Wi-Fi. I don't know why, but Wayne's workshop on here on Facebook, right? There's a gentleman here, an older gentleman, or what would they call them? Statesman.
Yeah, an elder.
Elder statesman. He is he runs his own, like, he's got a workshop that he you know, invites cosplayers, enthusiasts to come and build their own stuff. He's got 3D printer and all that in his little space in his garage. He's cooked it, set it up as. But he, if I remember right, I can't remember if he did Gimli. I think he did Gimli, right? As a full cosplay. Like, he's he's a solid dude. He's a short, solid dude, and yes, I think he's won awards for that as well. But so I think as we, like, you know, more people get into like pop culture and stuff, and the thing that you've added cosplay to your site, which is different. A lot of people don't do cosplay to your site. I mean, when I had my shop in 2014, 15, I actually had cosplay. I had anime stuff in there. But now, like, I mean, we're seeing, I mean, over the years, it's just growing bigger and bigger. The whole cosplay thing, it's a huge thing. I mean, like, there's comic books that actually have the cosplayers on them. You know, they pick the best cosplays and do that. It's kind of a cheat, you know, having a photo instead of a freaking artwork on a comic book. But you kind of like go, yeah, that's a really cool cosplay. So, I mean, that's probably had just as money put into that and time and effort as it takes someone to draw something really well. So, you know, 200 US kind of works out. So have you had a lot of sales and interest in the cosplay scene for your guys' shop?
I can't say I have yet. The main reason I put that in is because I love cosplay myself, photographing it, doing cosplay. Two of my biggest costumes that I've ever done is Crowley from Supernatural. I got to meet Mark Sheppard wearing that costume, and he said everybody who meets him needs to dress up like I did. So that was a nice feeling. And then one year I did.
What does Crowley dress up as?
He was the demon, the devil, in Supernatural, the one with Sam and Dean Winchester. So he wore like a long black trench coat.
Right? Is his mum the redhead? Is his mum the redhead?
Yeah.
Yes.
Not Regina.
Regina. It's not Regina.
That's it. Yeah. And then one year I did.
I love Supernatural as well. So, I mean, I didn't see the last 2 or 3 seasons, but I watched every other one before that. So good. But yeah, one year I did Ellen from The Hangover, and I had a fake box of roofies.
So that's kind of what triggered the cosplay part for Pop Daddy. Is I love cosplay, and as a photographer, that's one thing I really enjoy. Apart from toy photography, quick plug, Toytography NZ on Instagram. Apart from toy photography, I do enjoy cosplay photography as well.
So it's TOYTO
GRAPHY NZ. Toytography NZ.
I'm trying to spell this the right way. I'm sure I'm going to butcher this. Is it .co.nz or just NZ?
Nah, it's on Instagram, so that's my username, Toytography NZ.
Let me see if I got this right.
Toytog. So TOYTO Griffy NZ.
Tog. Okay, I see it.
Yeah.
So TOYTO.
Yep. GRAPHY NZ.
Okay, let's try this. I'm still going to mess it up, I'm sure. This is why I need a producer.
There we go. So yes, I've got some of my mini epics hanging out at Kaitoki, which they use for Rivendell for Lord of the Rings. I took some photos of my mini epics of the Lord of the Rings line, like the Balrog I showed you earlier.
Yeah.
So I've got some of those photos on there, trying to get some of the Funkos. But yeah, so yeah, cosplay is just, I know it's been a big part of me for the last, I don't know, maybe 4 years. I kind of really got into it. So
how much money have you do you think you personally put into doing your costumes?
I usually just hire them or buy the t-shirts and stuff. So I don't know, maybe maximum 150. Yeah, I think that's what Alan cost me, was 150.
So you don't actually go do you go out and you don't have anybody that you can sew it for you, or you don't commission other people to do it for you?
No, Nightlife Workshop is fantastic though. He makes a lot of props and stuff. I did a photo shoot for him with his Skyrim costume. So if I even need any props or anything, I can easily go to him. But I think as for the clothing, I'd much rather focus on doing something like that when I've got the time, so I can make it myself and give myself that accomplishment. But as for props and stuff, yeah, I'd probably call out to Nightlife Workshop. So
awesome. So I mean, what is the scene? I'm like, for us who are not from Wellington, you know, we're outside, you know, and even if you're not in Auckland, because I mean, when I came out of film school back in 2007, I straight away got, even before I left film school, I was already invited to work on short films in Auckland. Once I heard that I was moving to Auckland, and you know, and I would have carried on with it, but like 6 months in, I had my car accident, so I was like, that's over. So you know, I was doing like everything from like actually, they got me to do continuity. That was my first job out, and then because they kept sending me the script. The script got written about 11 times. A short script got rewritten 11 times.
Yeah.
And it was just so, yeah. But like, then I went from like being in continuity to being a cameraman to to being an AD, to being a cameraman on the same short film over a couple of weekends. And then I worked on another one where I was just like, gosh, I think I was just a cameraman. It's like, you know, it's like one of those things, like that could have been my thing there, right? If the accident had happened. But then it sort of like went into, okay, I can't do that, so I'll do writing. So I went and took everything I knew about writing and what I'd wanted, because I used to do stage as well, and did stage for about 5 years, I think. And then I went up to film school. And then, so I knew how to put, I mean, even before I got to film school, I knew how to put stuff together. This was asking about, you know, have you considered film school? And if not, why? If so, if not. So there's things that, you know, like the practical side of things you can pick up very quickly compared to what you can pick up in classes sitting there and sitting there and sitting there. Do you see yourself learning filmmaking, or do you want to just go off like watching YouTube videos, watching more films, watching behind the, like I used to do, like before I even went to film school, I was watching behind the scenes and all that, you know, of the DVDs and all that.
Yeah.
So how do you think you're gonna like step up into filmmaking once you go, okay, now I'm ready for that?
Yeah, I'm somebody who learns hands-on rather than listening to theory. So I'd much rather grab a camera, go and have, go and shoot some stuff, see what looks good, see what doesn't. From that, it'd be like, oh, I should have done this, I should have done that. Teach me to do more things, so on and so forth. And YouTube is an open resource of a lot of teaching. So, I don't mind watching that visual. It's just sitting in a class here and blah, blah, blah. I tune off. So, yeah, it's always been either YouTube videos or learning hands-on. So,
yeah, I mean, now I basically would say to people, just don't even bother with film school and stuff because of the amount of, the amount of material that's online is amazing. Like you said, I mean, like back in 2003, there was none of that. Like for me, like that's when I went to film school, it was at 2003 to 2006, 3 years there. And was it 456, something like that, 456. And now, like just after that, right? Just everything was on YouTube just after that. And you could, I've learned how to make meat from watching, never made meat, learned how to make meat by watching a YouTube person do it. And, it's just, I think the other thing is that like there was a series of videos from a lady called Film Courage. She does a site called like on YouTube channel called Film Courage, and she has all these like directors and writers on just doing interviews, like like Joe Rogan does it with all these personalities. She does it with just film people and television people. Man, and like I only discovered them about 2 months ago, and I've been sharing snippets of that on our website, on this website, on the Comic Trade Facebook site, and listening to these guys just talk about storytelling and what works, what doesn't work, is just amazing. And so compared to just hearing one person tell you that in class, right, for 3 years, compared to 100 to 200 people who tell you that in a year, just by watching the video and getting all the different ideas. That's what I think is, and plus you don't end up with debt,
Yeah. I was going to say, one of the cool things about going into a course or studying it is, of course, you've got industry standard people there, people that have been in the industry for years and they know what they're talking about. And the differences between a YouTube channel mainly and learning firsthand is you can, like, I can ask you a question and you answer it, right? If I'm watching your YouTube video and I got to ask you a question, you may be too busy to respond. You may not see it. I might not get the reply. So doing a class, you can ask those questions. You can start learning. And that's what differentiates between, I suppose, doing a course and doing YouTube videos. So if you're able to get a mix of the two, then you're away laughing. So.
Well, I think with these Zoom things that are coming up to having like online classes, that's going to like, man, I mean, I've got a friend who did an accounting course, and $2,000 if he needed to get his ticket, and he was able to pull it off within about like the last paper he did, I don't know, I think it was about 500 something. He was able to pull it off within a couple of months, or it may even be 2 months. If he was in a class, it would be whole years of just that's why I kind of consider think like this whole lockdown thing has basically made people think about how to learn in a different way, apart from being stuck in a classroom. And also businesses, right? Especially, as you experienced, like, okay, I'm going to be a tour guide on Lord of the Rings, which is epic. You've basically had to study. How long did you study for that? Because I mean, whole thing.
I pretty much knew. I knew everything. It sounded like a know-it-all. But since 2001, I studied the films for 15 years, so I already knew most of the stuff I needed to know. So training, it was more just learning where the locations were, learning exactly what happened at that location. As for all the trivia stuff, already had that. So not long at all.
And then you go like, yes, I'm in, and boom,
Yeah.
and then you got to, what was, I mean, like, that really hit the industry really hard. I mean, not only just tourism, but film as well. And and everything around that, the theater and stuff. So between you going, I don't have a job, to what am I going to do next? How did you figure that out? Because I know a lot of people like who don't even have to worry about that situation of I don't have a job. There's a lot of people sitting at home just going, I don't need to get a job, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because I get this. And so they'll just sit and sit and sit. But what was it like for you who's out there for 15 years? You're in, you got you got the doors open, and it's shut again just so quickly, to where you go, okay, you know what? I could just sit back, or I could do something. What made you decide to do something?
All right, well, I'm going to be brutally honest, and this might cause some more hate towards me, but it's all right. I am forever grateful what the Ministry of Social Development do. I've got assistance from them for most of my life, and it's been great. I did not want to turn into one of those guys that's, are in the basement of their parents' house gaming all day, knowing that money is sweet as because they get the benefit. I don't want that, didn't want that, don't even want the benefit now. So that's where I started thinking. I was like, right, what can I do to A, improve myself, B, improve the community, and C, keep me out of trouble? And that's kind of where it sort of started from. I'm doing, my media company, and then stemming to this is the fact that I didn't want to rely on the government.
And I think, I'm in the same boat, right? I've been in the same boat on and off myself. And so, with 2019 with me was like, or 2018 was like, what do I do? And it wasn't me who said what I do. It actually was. It was like, I need to do something. And, and here we are, 3 years later, I had three conventions, putting out comic books, creating toys. At the moment, you can't see that properly, but yeah, creating our own little chibi 3D printed toys, doing posters. Like you said, what do I do with the community? We've got a whole convention that actually benefits the community. And I think this is where my, I've always hit the balancing of how much do I rely on this and how much I do for myself. And I think a lot of times people, because of my brain, my brain shut down for about, I think, 2 years. Because after my shop closed, I was like, I just shut down because I went to deep depression because of and I was then I was like, okay, I can't be like this for the rest of my life. The money's sweet, right? Like you said, money's sweet. I can just sit on my ass and do nothing all day long because the money's sweet. And I think that is a great thing. But I think, like you said, what do I do? And I think it's more like, what do I want for myself? Is that what you thought? What do I want for myself? Or, is this what I want? Because a lot of people kind of go yeah, I'm happy with what I have. But then how long is that happiness going to last? Is it every Tuesday or Wednesday? Oh, no, sorry, every Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, because it's you get the dough, you buy the food, you pay the bills, you got the money for the beer. Because that's how it's works,
pretty much,
right? That's a cycle. That's a cycle of being on there, and then it's then comes Sunday, then comes Monday, and in those 2 days you're going, gotta wait till Tuesday, Wednesday. Okay.
Yeah.
You said this is what I want to do for myself, or anything. But what is it keeps you doing that though? Because once you said, okay, this is what I want to do, but what is it going to keep you doing? What keeps you doing that?
What keeps me doing it? As cliche as it's going to sound, my kids and my fiance. I want to set up a good sort of future for my kids. And if that means, being proactive about things and saying, hey, look, if you have a dream, follow it. I mean, I did X Factor just to show my kids that if you've got a dream, you should chase it. I didn't succeed on X Factor, but I did it just for them. But yeah, it's just, you know, setting up that family zone and setting up a future for your family. You're sitting down, you know, playing with your fingers, so to speak, and thinking about what if, it's never going to happen. Get off your ass and go and think about what can I do now, you know?
Yeah.
So,
well, that get off your ass is what parents used to tell us. I mean, dads always used to tell us, you know, why are you sitting around? You know,
yeah,
and now it's like,
outside, it's warm.
yeah, now it's like they're not allowed to say that anymore.
Yeah,
you know, it's more like it's almost like taboo to say get off your ass and do something. Whereas, you know, in the 90s, 80s, you're like, get outside, you know, go help mum with garden or something.
Yeah.
Now it's like, oh, I've got my computer, I got my, you know, Game Boy, whatever, Xbox, I'm good all day long, all night long. And I think
you can't make a living from that unless you're a gamer for YouTube and you're monetizing, sweet as. But if you're not, then what are you doing with yourself? What are you doing with your life? You want to create a legacy for when, you know, you pass away, and sitting around on your ass doing nothing is going to not achieve anything, you know?
I mean, the question is then, like, what sort of legacy do you want to leave behind for yourself?
Well, I want to leave a legacy behind where, you know, I'm known for trying, for attempting, instead of just sitting around thinking about what if. You know, I want my kids to grow up thinking to themselves, all right, I want this. How do I go about it? No, I want this. I'm just going to sit and wait. No, you go out and get it. You know, so that's kind of legacy I want to leave behind.
That's something that you don't hear often now. I don't know why, but we don't hear that whole legacy thing. I mean, I've talked to a lot of my friends in my circle, right, who think like that. I think like that. I think about leaving a legacy. What's my legacy? I'm going to leave a character behind. I'm going to leave a business behind. I'm going to leave. I don't have any kids of my own, but I do have some nephews and nieces, so I'll be able to leave that behind for them to carry on and have put our foot, you know, establish something that's going to be here after I'm gone. I think a lot of times we don't get that message about that anymore, about for the future, you know, like what's for the future, because we've been taught in a way, especially on like between school leaving to about maybe 28. So like between, like, say about 10-year period of your life, you're basically just wandering around. You know, just like just wandering around. You're not thinking about legacy. You don't have, you know, if you don't have guardians or dad in the home saying this is what you could do, because your mom's always going to be the one. Hey, you know, come to me when you need a hug. But the dad's the one who's going to go get out there, do something. And they're the ones who are saying, hey, we've left something for you. Now you got to leave something for you know, whoever's coming with you next, which could be your kids, could be the rest of your family. And I think that message of legacy is being lost. I remember being taught about legacy maybe about 20 years ago. I haven't had that much in the last 10 years, the word.
Yeah, no, much. It's not. It's commonly unheard of.
In finishing, we're up to about almost an hour. And in finishing, is there anything you want to say? I mean, we've almost got to a pretty cool little end there with the legacy thing, because I think that's something I think it's noteworthy and thoughtworthy. You know, something people can listen to and say, hey, yeah, what am I leaving behind? But so final words, you up to 5 minutes, as long as you want. I'll final words, and then we'll close off after you.
Okay, cool. I suppose my encouragement to everybody is, if you feel like, you know, you're at the crossroads and you have no idea what to do with yourself, it's okay to take a step back, sit down, take a breather, and think about what you'd like to make in your life. And if you're convinced that it's something you want to do, then go and chase it. No matter what it's going to take, no matter what it's going to cost, go and chase it. And if it's going to cost something quite big, then you're going to be able to find a way, especially if it's meant to be. That's just something that's always been a part of me, and always will be a part of me. Hence why, the decisions I make and the life choices I make and whatnot. But apart from that, thanks for listening to me blab on. It's been great. And hopefully I get to see you around the Pop Daddy channels at some point. It'd be good to see you guys.
Awesome, man. Yeah, I mean, I didn't realize that. I mean, like when I got in touch with you about this, and I didn't realize how much you had done, in the last few years, what you were involved with, and having someone like you talk about acting, and from Wellington and the theater and film and TV, it's been a real blast, to be honest. I think you're probably the first. No, you're the second actor I've ever interviewed like this. I mean, the last one I did was Stuart from Shortland Street, who lives up here. He's he's an elderly gentleman who's got a couple kids or something. I don't watch Shortland Street, so I'm not so sure. But yeah, I interviewed on radio in 2018, so that was the last time I interviewed an actor. But this has been a blast, man. I mean, it's just so cool to actually discuss with you what and actually, how old are you? Like, because I mean, you look young to me.
How old do I look?
Around 30.
That's a good guess. I keep forgetting my actual age. I was born in 87, and I'm pretty sure I'm 33, maybe 34. You kind of get to that period in your life when you're like, I'm either this or this. Whereas when you're like younger, you're like, I'm definitely 25.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I mean, and
sorry, fiance's calling. Give me a sec.
Sure.
There we go.
All right. So
she can wait.
Well, we can close off here and let you talk to your partner. So thank you so much, Axel. I hope you do well, your shop does well, and you and your career does well. And hope you see some stuff that you do yourself. I mean, like that you shoot yourself, stories you tell, because I think, like I say, everyone's got a story to tell, but I mean, you actually are learning how to tell a story as well as being in front of the screen. I mean, in front of the camera and doing it. It's just, all the best, dude. Thank you for hanging out with me and talking. All the best for your business and for your career and with your kids. And hopefully you'll leave an amazing legacy for your kids.
Hey, you too. And all the best with everything you're doing.
Cheers, mate. All right, guys.
Awesome.
Ka kite anō. We'll see you next time. We'll see you on our next stream on the narrative. Hopefully you guys have got a lot out of what we talked about. And hey, wherever you are, be safe, keep well, and be well. Ka kite anō, everybody. Thanks, Axel. We'll catch you next time, bud.
Thanks, guys. See ya.